name is Ophir Holder with Amdocs, and I'm here with my two colleagues, Kobe and Noah. And I'll be delighted to, talk through the next 30 minutes or so about powering the next generation of customer experience, and specifically about, this is supposed to be on. Okay, all right. So, and specifically about a platform approach to dealing with the challenges of the next generation customer experience. So, first of all, probably many of you don't know Amdocs. We're relatively, a newcomer to the publisher space. So a bit of introduction about the company. So we've been in business for about 30 years. We're a pretty sizable company. We're a company with about 25,000 employees, a company of about $8.5 billion. And we've begun our journey back in the mid-'80s with serving the Yellow Pages publishers at the time by automating their business support system. Basically, building software products to automate their business systems. This is where we started. And then, as we grew, we figured out that the adjacent space to where we were, the telecom space, actually deals with the same problems we've developed solutions for. So what we did, we took our solutions, our expertise, and our experience to the telecom space at the beginning of the 90s. And then it was a time when the telecom space growth started to flatten. And then it was realized that the mobile communication is going to be probably, the next phase of growth in this market. And luckily for us, we went there. We took, again, the very same, solutions and expertise and experience that we had. We brought it to the telecom space in the mobile growth area. And we managed to grow quite nicely with this space over the 90s. And then we came to the beginning of the 2000s, and what happened there is once again, growth started to flatten, and it was clear that the industry needs to do something and needs to go more deeply into integration with the media space. And you saw the main communication carriers at the time integrating with mainly TV services companies. And once again, this new area started to deal with the same problem, with the same challenges that we built solutions for. So we took, again, our solutions, our expertise into this space, and this enabled us to continue on growing. And this started to create our focus on media and media services. And in the past few years, we saw the very same process or the very same phenomena happening with the publisher industry as well. An industry which is going through a major transformation, a transformation that has many of the characteristics we saw in the past, in our core business. And so we believe that the same type of expertise that we have, the same kind of solutions, the same kind of insights are now becoming relevant to the media publishing space. And this is why we made the decision to enter the space. So we believe we have the capabilities and the experience to add value to the space and to add value to media publishers. So with that statement started, first of all, let's look at the environment that is changing now. And this is not going to be any news to you, but what I wanted to do is first of all, set the stage about what's happening in the industry in terms of the challenges and in terms of what needs to be done before starting to talk about approaches to solution. So first of all, we're seeing obviously a shift in media consumption. And it all starts with millennials. We talk about it a lot. So we're talking about people who were born into a world with multiple digital devices, with short attention spans, with behavioral characteristics of this particular segment, and the importance about them is that they are setting the trend. Secondly, we're seeing new types of engagements by consumers. So there's an expectation to consume content on multiple devices, in multiple places, in multiple times. There's an expectation for proactivity on behalf of merchants. So people are expecting merchants to reach out to them as opposed to reaching out to the merchant. We see new habits of content consumption, completely new habits. So today, a consumer can start to consume content at one particular time on one particular device, stop in the middle, and wanting to go on later on in the day on a different device, but from the very same point when he stopped. And it applies to consumption of content, but it applies in the same way to the whole aspects, the whole myriad of aspects of interaction with a merchant. So if it goes to the time of sign up, it can relate to the interaction with the merchant that needs to happen everywhere, every time, based on the interest of the consumer. Content is available everywhere. This is the world in which we live. So it's much more difficult to create value and to persuade consumers to develop loyalty to the brand and to justify the premium for the content. So these are challenges, and when it comes to advertising, because of the fact that customer segments are becoming much more fragmented and much more granular, it becomes much more difficult to generate revenues for advertisers. And so what does all this mean for media publishers? So first of all, it means a shift from print to multimedia. Now, what's the meaning of multimedia? So multimedia, the basic notion is just multiple mediums, if you will. So it's multiple devices. It's both text and video and social networks and messaging platforms. All of this needs to be taken into consideration. But it also means a lot of dependency on technology. Technology basically determines much of the experience that the user has when interacting with a brand. So it has to do with things like, how quickly can I, access the website? How fast is the video, downloading? What's the quality of the video? Does it halt in the middle or, run smoothly? But it also has to do with aspects such as, what's the cost of my data center? What's the cost of my communication links? How many people do I have to employ to run them? So all these, aspects, which were very, very small in the past, are becoming, critical aspects in the functioning of the business and the cost structure of the business. And then, lastly, there is the point of differentiation and diversification of the business model. So if the business model was quite simple in the past, now it's becoming, more diversified. So we see Condé Nast, for example, acquiring a company called Pitchfork Media that handles live events and video to expand their network of consumers. We're seeing the New York Times launching multiple video channels to diversify their offering. All this is happening around, and all this is requiring support. And so differentiation as a bottom line is going to depend in the future on the ability to create a product which is attractive to users on one hand, and then being able to support this product in such a way that satisfies the requirements of the next generation user experience. Okay, so that's multimedia. But what does it mean when it comes to the company itself? And so when it comes to the company itself, the company actually moves from being a company which is focused on the media itself to a company which is focused on the consumer. And that's a very major change. And let's talk for a few seconds about what's the meaning of this transformation, of being focused on the consumer. And this is exactly the point of where we are coming from. We're coming from an industry which has been focused on the consumer in the sense that I'll talk about right now for the past maybe 20 years or so. So what's the meaning of this? So first and foremost, it's about products. It's about establishing the notion or the concept of a product as a center concept in how you think about the business. And here I want to mention a quote that I saw lately. Maybe some of you, have heard it as well. It's a very interesting one by a lady called Julia Baitzer, Director of Products at the Washington Post. And she's talking about what happened to the company after the acquisition by Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon. And she's saying, our single biggest change under Jeff Bezos has been to stop thinking of ourselves as a content company. We are now a product company, which is a very important quote in my mind. And what's the meaning of a product company? So product company thinks about how do I build multiple products of multiple natures? How do I package products in multiple ways, price them in multiple ways, and adjusting them in the right way to the right either specific user or the right segment or micro segment of user. So this is a problem of a product company. And from our perspective, this is what publishers are gradually becoming a product company. So this is one aspect. The second aspect is service quality and efficiency. So if in the past it was just, it was creating an issue and publishing the issue once a month, and obviously the quality of the content was key to success. Now it's becoming a continuous service. Now the content exists on the web, exists on mobile, exists on social networks, and so there are aspects of the quality of the service. So, how quickly does it load, as we mentioned previously, but also how efficiently is the company communicating with the consumer? How easy it is to sign up as a response to a promotion? Is it just one click, 2 clicks, or is it a long process that needs to take time and the user sits in a train, sees a promotion, clicks a button, wants to sign up, but it's too difficult, and the user says, okay, I'll do it in the evening, and by the evening he forgets all about it. So is it the first way or the second way? These are becoming critical aspects when you become a consumer-driven company. And the last one, and maybe the most important one, is direct communication with consumers. So once again, if in the past it was the communication with the consumer was through the content that the consumer is consuming on a printed page, now consumers are expecting not only proactivity, but proactivity by the merchant which is adjusted to their preferences. So one consumer would like to be contacted once a month as a reminder for the availability of the next issue or to get a summary of the most important articles, by the way, adjusted to his own interests. Another consumer would be interested in exactly the same thing, but once a week, or even sometimes once a day, with prompt messages about news, about new articles, about promotions, about things that may interest him, and so on. So think about a situation where you need to put together a policy by which you want to reach out to those consumers with all those different schemes, but adjusted to the different consumer on a person by person basis or on the basis of different segments of users that you identify up front. So this is the meaning of being a consumer company. Okay, so we're talking all the time about customer experience. We mentioned a number of facets of this experience and what this experience should be. So here we wanted to summarize our approach to thinking about customer experience in a multidimensional way. And this is so important in our minds because at the end of the day, when you think about it, the experience and these aspects that I'll mention in a minute, they are the ones that determine the loyalty that the customer develops with the brand. So this is why they're so important. And what are they? So first of all, digital. Digital means it has to be available anytime, anywhere, on any device. And by the way, it obviously applies for a publication that goes, let's say, 100% digital. This side of the extreme. But what I'm saying is that this applies also to a publication, even to ones who go to the other side of the extreme, to the whole print. Because in today's world, everybody needs to live online. Everybody has to have a website. Maybe not all the content available there, but at the very least, you want to have an ability to sign up online. You want to have an ability to pay online. You want to have an ability to get some promotions online, to advertise online, to send updates online. So digital is a must-have for the future customer experience. The next aspect is valuable. It has to be valuable. So it has to be, what's the meaning of valuable? So it has to be personalized. It has to be adjusted to the interests of the specific person. It has to be proactive, as we mentioned. So the brand should interactively, contact the user and only according to the preferences of the user. And it has to be consistent. Consistent meaning, once again, if the consumer started in the morning and wanted to continue later in the evening, it's an easy process. It continues from the point it stopped in the morning. And so these are the meaning of valuable. And so it has to be exciting. Exciting means it has to be innovative. It has to have the wow factor, so that when the user interacts with the content, interacts with the brand, there is differentiation in the sense of how innovative it is and how exciting it is to interact with it. And it has to be dynamic. Dynamic means it has to have the ability to rapidly change, rapidly evolve, rapidly and flexibly adjust itself to the changes in consumer behavior. And it has to take the information about users and the user habits into consideration in this flexible and rapid change process. Okay. So now we get to the technology. So we spoke about, okay, so what's the customer experience of the future? What are the needs, how the industry is going to look like or look like today and continue to evolve? So what does it mean from the perspective of technological capabilities? What are the capabilities which are key? So when we look at technology, our perspective as Amdocs, based on our experience with similar types of businesses that went through this kind of transformation, is that first of all, you want to think about your IT environment as an end-to-end platform. You want to design the technology infrastructure that you have, the support systems that you have, the business support systems that you have, as an end-to-end platform. And so an end-to-end platform means not necessarily one monolithic, big software chunk that includes all the functionalities you can think of, but rather a platform that is composed from different functionality blocks, if you will, or different function products, but ones that are integrated well to each other, and one that sit on top of a very capable technology infrastructure that can assure that you can evolve each of these technological components as the business grows. So this is the meaning of end-to-end platform. The next point is a flexible product management capability. We spoke about product. I mentioned the quote from the Washington Post. So in order to do this fascinating thing of creating multiple products, package them in different ways, price them in different ways, promote them in different ways, market them in different ways, and on a continuous basis, change the way you do it and adjust the way you do it to the interests of the consumers, you need to have a function in your IT system that supports such kind of sophistication. And this is the product management component. And the third aspect is powerful data analysis. So in order to take advantage of the interaction with users, to take advantage of what you know about what's happening in your business in the best way, there's a need to collect the data and there's a need to analyze the data. Now, as was mentioned in one of the session before, it's not it's not an easy task to do, and it can be quite confusing. But the very basics of it is the capability to, first of all, collect all the data, manage all the data in one place, and then on top of that, do the right analysis that can help you drive insight about your business. Okay, so we spoke about the capabilities. So we spoke about the capabilities, but the question is, so how would a platform like this look like? And this is what you're seeing here in this diagram, this sketch of this kind of a platform. So what you see on the bottom is a set of data sources. Those red cylinders on the bottom are a set of data sources. So everything sits on this set of data sources. And those data sources basically are collecting data from multiple areas. So one would be the data about the interaction with your users, with your customers, the interaction on the website, what they watched, what they consumed, for how long they spent on different pages and different articles. So this is one source of data. Another source of data is the commercial interaction with them, okay? When they sign up, how they signed up, to what they signed up, what is the history of their product consumption, and so on. Another one would be third-party data, external data about your users. The fourth one would be information about the function of the system itself in order to optimize the system itself, and so on. So there are a whole line of data sources. And then on top of the data sources, we have two distinct areas of functionality. On the left side, you see the functional components. So these are the functional component of your business, if you will. And we didn't list them all. We listed just maybe the most important ones. You see the CRM. You see the product and pricing catalog. This is the product capability. There's the ordering and subscription management. There's the finance management. There's the print circulation. And there are others as well. Each one of them is a functionality component, if you will. And the point is that they're all integrated. And then on the right side, what you see is the data analytics engine and the data analytics applications. And so what happens in this layer is that the data analytics engine grabs data from the cylinders on the bottom, analyzes the data, and injects insight about the function of the business to the left side of the figure. So it kind of gives advice to the product function, to the CRM function, to the ordering function, gives advice how to do their function based on analysis of the data that comes from beneath. And it also happens the other way around. Also, the CRM, the product and pricing, and so on, they're also pushing information into the data analysis engine to guide the data analysis engine what to look for in the underneath layer of these cylinders. And so there is a kind of bidirectional feedback type of relationship, if you will, between the functional components on the left and the data analysis and apps on the right. And this is how this is the meaning of an end-to-end system. This is the meaning of a fully integrated system with which you can do a very sophisticated product creation and product adjustment to the interests of the users, as one example. You can run a very efficient CRM operation, whereby you know what's going on with each one of the customers. You can, for example, do proactive promotions to each and every different customer based on the preferences of this customer as you learn from the interaction with the website. And these are just two examples. And then on top of that, we see the different devices that are used to consume the content. So we see mobile, we see PC, and so on. And then on the top, we see the different ways to interact with the users for the purpose of support, payment, all the kind of a commercial relationship with the user across the web, across a call center if you have a call center, and social networks. Okay? And so to summarize this overall approach that I described here, let's take 2-3 minutes to watch a video that gives a summary of all that, and then I'll go over 3 use cases to.
The media industry is evolving at a rapid pace. Always-on millennials and their multi-channel, multimedia engagement habits means higher demand for anywhere, anytime content, preferably free. The situation forces media companies to find new ways to deliver unique value to customers, consumers, and advertisers alike across all channels and platforms while adapting themselves to new challenges. This means winning customer loyalty, differentiating yourself, and rapidly adjusting to new trends and demands by introducing new offerings, business models, and business processes. And if that isn't enough, you need to do all this while driving monetization with increased efficiency. Embrace these challenges, engage your customers in a new way, and exercise scalable holistic management, accelerating your business value with an innovative, intelligent experience across multiple touch points throughout the entire life cycle. From digital content management through product and pricing management, ordering and fulfillment, to billing, across multiple channels and devices. At the core of these solutions stand exceptional analytical capabilities, providing a deep understanding of your customers' data and future behavior prediction that enables personalized, targeted engagements, proactive customer relationships, and intelligent business decision-making. The result, exceeding your customers' expectations, strengthening your brand identity, and increasing loyalty and revenue.
All right, so I'll run very quickly on a few use cases. So the first use case is creation of a new product, in which the marketing manager comes up with a new product and then goes to the system to get advice from the analytics component that we saw previously, and then can create this product inside an environment that lets the marketing manager decide what pieces of content to put into the product, how to package it, how to price it, potentially multiple modes of pricing, potentially adjusting different modes of pricing to different types of users, and then, again, using the system to launch the product. So this is one use case. The next one is proactive and personalized recommendations. So once again, the marketing manager comes and has an idea for a promotion, goes to the system, gets advice from the system about what are the best segments to address this to, and gets an advice from the system or a calculation from the system about propensity to buy. So you can test and calculate propensity to buy this, this product using the tools of the system, and then once again using the system to define the promo and to publish and run the promo. And the last one is an example of diversifying the business model. So here the brand decides to cooperate, with another merchant, like for example, to include coupons for restaurants on food articles. And so the marketing manager, again, uses the system, uses a component that we haven't seen here, which is a partner management component, in order to set up the commercial relationship with the merchant. Then, once again, goes to the product component to define the product containing the coupon in this example, and then uses the system to publish it. And lastly, as we see here, once the user takes the coupon and redeems the coupon in a restaurant, there's a need for a function that would, calculate the revenue split between the brand and the merchant, and would take care of the settlement between the two. And this is done by the same, partner management component. So to summarize, we've talked about the changes in the marketplace. We've talked about what it means from a customer experience perspective. And we saw, at least, we wanted to share with you our approach about how to deal with it. And it's a platform approach in which you think about an integrated environment which includes at its heart, two main areas which are on the top of the important list. One is the product creation and manipulation capability, and the second one is the ability to take advantage of your data. Okay, so with that, I would like to thank you. As I said, I'm here with my colleagues, Kobe and Noah. We have a booth upstairs. We'd love to continue the conversation with you, and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.